Well, this really is the big one. This is the new 3 Series. It's supposed to be the best driver's car in the segment, and it really does look sharp on the outside. Sometimes in life, everything just seems to merge together. The designers, the engineers, the marketing people just sit together and create something which is very close to perfection. And I think the 3 Series is that car. It really is perfect in every sense of the word. Why? Stay tuned for the next 7 or 8 minutes and I'll explain it to you in this video review. Thanks for watching. So here I am inside the cabin of the new 3 Series, and this cabin is absolutely faultless in terms of the materials, in terms of the overall quality and just the posh appeal that this car has. It is second to none in this segment now. And of course, as all BMWs, the center console is slightly tilted towards the driver, which makes it a very drive focused car. The only bit of negative, and I'm just nitpicking right now, is that the gauges now are all digital. The old analog gauges of the earlier car have gone, which are really sharp to look at. But the good point is that there's a place between those two gauges where BMW has positioned the satellite navigation. And talking about navigation, navigating through this iDrive system is very easy, very intuitive. In fact, this iDrive system, it's ahead of Audi, Mercedes as well as Jaguar in terms of the usage as well as ease of use. And even this screen is really nice and bright. What I really appreciate inside the car is the fact that you get mood lighting all across. There's a small light over here, small lights in the door panels, and you can change those lights. You can choose between blue, orange, white, green and a whole host of colors depending on your mood. And as I just said, quality is spectacular. The seats themselves are very comfortable. And if you see this brown and you say I don't want this black and brown combination, you can also choose beige combination by going to a dealer and telling him about it. Now there are a host of features on this car, including traction control, multiple airbags, as well as the different settings for the engine and gearbox. But the coolest feature, of course, is the voice command feature, and you can activate it by simply saying, "Hey BMW."
Hello, what can I help you with?
Please open the sunroof.
Unfortunately, the vehicle is not equipped with this function.
Sorry, wrong command and the wrong car. Hey BMW.
Hello,
What's the temperature outside?
The outside temperature is 32.5 degrees Celsius.
And hey BMW.
Hello.
How much fuel do I have?
The remaining range is 449 kilometers.
Well, you can give it this kind of commands and it'll respond back. It can't do some other connected things which other cars can do, but even this is a cool feature. The other cool feature, of course, is that this car remembers your last 50 meters. So if you want to put it into a tight parking space, all you do is simply press this reverse assistant button and it'll reverse or help you reverse, because the steering wheel will do all the moving back. So you don't have to remember how you got into that tight space in the first place. Also, here I'm in the back seat of the 3 Series, and I have to say it's a nice and impressive place for overall space and comfort. Now my height for reference is 5'10", and I always adjust the front seat for my height and driving position. So if you're 5'10" or if you're 5'11", even if you're about 6, you should be okay in terms of headroom as well as knee room. The only issue is that there's a huge hump in the floor panel, and it was there also in the last generation car, and it's also there in all its other rivals. So honestly, it's not a big issue because the footwells are large enough to accommodate the feet of whoever's sitting over here. Overall, I'll give this car's back seat a good score of 8 out of 10. Well, so overall the boot on the 3 Series is quite decent. As you can see, it's a nice and square boot, and there's a minimal sill. There's a bit of a sill, but it's not too much, so you can slide in those big boxes or those luggage pieces. The only issue is that the aperture isn't the biggest, it's not the most generous, so that can be a bit of an issue if you have a very big box to load in. But overall, considering the size and the segment this car sells in, now, of course, we've got the car at the BIC racetrack, and not without reason. The reason, of course, is that this is really a track tool. If you are someone who lives near a racetrack, or if you are someone who enjoys driving and wants to take his car up the hills once in a while, then this is the car to go for. When you attack those corners, this car's steering wheel and the overall chassis dynamics will give you great confidence in the handling abilities of this car. And even on a wet surface like we are driving today, we've got great grip levels from the tires. The chassis is very accurate and very well planted, and this car just feels stable. It feels a lot more stable than your girlfriend did, and it feels like a rock solid pair of hands are maneuvering this car. The grip level from the tires is absolutely brilliant, and it's very hard to break traction on this car or to change tread when you're driving it on the road. So it's a great car for people who call themselves keen drivers, and that's why we got it to the BIC, the Booth International Circuit, and thanks to the authorities at BIC today, even you can check out their rates, the schemes that they offer. They offer you very flexible rates, very flexible schemes, and you should check it out on the Booth International website. We'll put a link in the description box below, and you'll be amazed at the prices that they have to offer. Now, this car comes with two engine options. You get a petrol as well as a diesel, and the petrol makes about 250 bhp of power. The diesel, the 320D, which is a popular car, makes about 190 bhp of power, and I think the diesel engine, the 320D, is all the car that you will need because it's fuel efficient, and it is also a very quick car. In terms of 0 to 100 acceleration, this one gets there in under 7 seconds, which is again very quick. And sometimes you'll have to be careful with your right leg, you'll have to be very careful when you flex it, because this car masks its speeds very well. So before you know it, you will be doing speeds which are illegal on most highways. You might be doing 120, 130 and won't even know about it. So you just got to be a little careful with your right leg. The performance is so quick on the new 320D. Now, in terms of overall refinement, this diesel engine doesn't feel like a diesel in the least. Not only because it's a very responsive engine, but also because the quietness levels inside the car, the cabin isolation is very good, and this car really does offer you a very cocoon-like feeling when you're driving it on the road, because in case some motorist comes next to you, a biker comes next to you and is loudly yelling at his girlfriend, or maybe a wife is yelling on a husband on a bike or a scooty, then whatever they're saying outside will be a bit of a murmur to you. Even though they might be yelling, this cabin is so well isolated that it'll only be a murmur, and you'll have to really work hard to eavesdrop on the chat. Well, what makes the BMW so special is the crisp and precise steering wheel. In fact, if I were to talk about a food item which I remember when I drive this car, it'll have to be a Pringles chip, because it's just as crisp as a bag of Pringles chips is, and it's a brilliant steering wheel to say the least. All its other rivals are far behind in terms of the communication, the feedback, the accuracy, and the overall sense of engagement that this steering wheel has to offer. Now, of course, just like any BMW, this one also comes with various settings. You can choose from the sport mode, the comfort mode, as well as the eco mode, and understandably, the sport mode is the one to choose if you really want the car to become angry. The engine, the gearbox, the steering wheel become a lot more sharper, a lot more crisper, and a lot more engaging to drive, and the engine holds on to those revs a lot longer. The gearbox also seems to sharpen up nicely, and as I just said, it just becomes a better car to drive. All this handling, all this agility, all this great sharp steering wheel responses comes at no cost. A lot of other cars, these things come at a cost of ride comfort, but not in this car. The engineers at BMW have really tuned up the suspension brilliantly. It offers you a great mix of agility as well as very good ride comfort. Now, the ride comfort on this car is brilliant. If you drive it up on broken patches of road, this car will offer you a very pliant ride, and even when you drive it on the highway, it'll really stick on the road and offer you very good stability as well. So what I'm trying to say is that it offers you a great mix of agility as well as comfort. In the overall driver department, I'll give the 3 Series a strong score of 95 out of 100. Well, overall, I'm just simply smitten by the charms of the new 3 Series, and I'm sure that even you will. This car comes close to perfection, and it is the best sports sedan out there in the market. If you're in the market for an executive luxury sedan and you have this kind of cash lying around, simply go to a BMW dealership, take a test drive of this car, and I'm sure you'll agree with my verdict. I'll give it a strong score of 92 out of 100, and as I just said, this car comes close to perfection. It's bye for now, and hope to see you soon.